Hi loves, it's your girl Pandora here, and today I'm taking you for a walk with me. We're going for an old school style witchy YouTubers cemetery walk through my local cemetery, the way that Sammy Valens used to back in the Witch on the Rocks days. Please correct me if she was not the first one to do it. I know that the Lady Grave Dancer had some cemetery videos back in the day, and so did some other people. But today I just wanted to take you for a walk around my beautiful local cemetery and talk about ethics in tarot reading. And I touched on this topic when I was making my New Age to Christian conversions video. So I'll talk about the points that I made in that video again in this video in case you didn't watch it. It might have been too long and rambly and you may not have gotten to that part. But this came to my attention again because I was watching Carrie Mallon. I was watching a video by the lovely Carrie Mallon. I love Carrie, and she was talking about a blog post that she came across by Nomqua, and Nomqua is someone in our community who I've come across from time to time. She has a YouTube channel, she writes a blog, and I've read some of her other blog posts and watched her videos as well. So yeah, she's just a member of this community who's around, and she made a video about the ethics surrounding tarot reading and some of her concerns. So I didn't agree with all of her points, and that's fine. Like, we're all adults and we're all entitled to our own opinion. And you can read the blog post, I'll link to it below. But so basically she is a psychologist, so I'd assume that she has all the proper education and qualifications and credentials and registration and all of that stuff, and that's absolutely fantastic. And she, I guess, just raised concerns about the mental health issues surrounding the whole issue of people purchasing tarot readings, and the fact that some tarot readers themselves have mental health issues. And I'm not disputing this, but I also don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing, and I'll talk about why in this video. So as many of you know, I am studying towards becoming a mental health peer worker, and so basically what mental health peer work is it's a type of disability support role for people with mental illness. And what you do is you get the proper training and education and everything like that, obviously, to become a mental health peer worker. And you use your lived experience to help others with their mental health issues. And so it's not a counselling role, it's not, you know, any kind of professional role like that. It's really just a support role, and it's to help other people in their recovery by using what you know from your lived experience and your recovery journey to help others in their recovery journey. So if you have any questions about mental health peer worker, please feel free to ask me. And Katey Flowers has attained the qualification that I am working towards currently, so she's another good person to ask, and she talks about mental health recovery on her channel as well. So just a shout out to Katey. I don't think that anybody who watches me wouldn't already be watching Katey Flowers, but just in case, go and check her out. So getting back to how this relates to tarot reading, if you are a tarot reader who has suffered from mental health issues, then not only do I think it's okay for you to be a tarot reader and to help other people, but I actually think that you're uniquely qualified because you know where people have been, you know what it's like to be in that position, and you can use your lived experience to help your clients. And there's all kinds of reasons why people would get a tarot reading. In Nomqua's blog post, she kind of said that from her brief experience, like it was a very brief experience giving out readings, and I think she did say that she did paid readings. People would come to her wanting control taken out of their hands. They just wanted to be told what to do. They didn't want to have to make any decisions for themselves and take control of their own fate or anything like that. They kind of were just all getting tarot readings done for the wrong reason. And it's sad that that was her experience, but as Carrie said, that hasn't been her experience, and I don't think that that's been the experience of all tarot readers at all. Like, a lot of tarot readers, I think, have experiences with difficult clients and things like that, and people who do get readings for the wrong reason. And I talked about that in my video on New Age to Christian conversions. I kind of said that sometimes not every situation is appropriate to get a tarot reading. Sometimes you actually need help from another professional, whether it's a legal professional or a psychologist, or a financial advisor, or you name it, there's somebody else for the job. And I'm just going to say this, but if you think that your man might be cheating on you, then you don't need to see a tarot reader. You need to go and get a good private eye. I'm just saying, some people might disagree with that, but there it is. I've said it. That's my opinion. So, yes, sometimes people do get readings for the wrong reason, and any tarot reader, any good tarot reader with a strong ethical background will turn down somebody for a reading like that, and they will refund them their money and not do the reading. However, if you are in a position where you read tarot for a living and you need the money, that's your bread and butter and how you put food on the table for your family, then what position does that put you in when you need to, you actually can't turn down a reading and refund it and say no? So I think that is something that we definitely need to talk about in the community. And I really think that it does just come down to personal accountability. It's another one of those things that is for the individual to decide, and you need to have good senses and good intuition as to which tarot reader and which psychic, or whatever the case may be, or coach, because life coaches are a thing, and I personally don't think that all life coaches are bad. I think that some are legit, but you just need to decide for yourself and have some good sense about you and make up your own mind about whether getting a tarot reading is right for you and which tarot reader is right for you. So, sorry, I think I just had my hand over the camera. Hopefully you could hear me anyway. So yeah, this is going to be a terrible cemetery tour. That's going into the Children's Lawn Cemetery, but up here it's quite nice. So, yes. What else did I want to say about this issue? So, yeah, the other thing is that sometimes people will go back for a tarot reading over and over again, sometimes to the same reader, sometimes they'll sort of shop around to different readers, but they will keep going back again and again for a tarot reading about the same issue and sort of not take the advice that's given and things like that. So I think that does happen from time to time, and just from my experience being in some of the tarot professionals Facebook groups and things like that, and those type of Facebook groups where there are professional readers in the group and they talk about what their experiences are and such, I think that is definitely quite a widespread thing that does happen quite a lot. And again, I think that's a thing that we need to talk about in the community and why that's happening and what you do as a reader when that happens. So yeah, just full disclaimer and full transparency about myself. I am not a professional tarot reader at this point in time. I am a certified tarot reader. So I was certified through a lady named Pascal. Her business is called Spiral. And I have been interested in the tarot since I was 13. So I'm a very strong tarot enthusiast, and I'm a little bit of a tarot collector. And I have only really been able to give readings to other people that are worth anything for the past about 6 years. And it happened, I hope this doesn't sound really wanky, but when I was pregnant with my eldest son, I all of a sudden had this resurgence of my interest in tarot, and I started reading tarot books again. I started playing with my cards again and watching people on YouTube and all of that sort of stuff. And so I started to play around with my cards again, and I found that for a change, like for the first time in ages, I was actually able to get some value out of a reading for myself. And then it wasn't long after that I started trying reading for other people, and I was getting good feedback as well. So I haven't really given that many readings to other people. When somebody gifts me a tarot deck, so sometimes a couple of times I've had subscribers gift me tarot decks and, do exchanges and things like that. So when that's happened, I don't think that you know, going back to that point about people getting tarot readings for the wrong reasons, I don't think that they were getting readings for the wrong reasons. In a lot of cases they were like, oh, just give me a general reading and pick up on the general energies and what's going on around me and that sort of thing, and that was fine. So there wasn't really an issue there, and I gave them the reading and they were happy with it. They didn't have any major complaints. They didn't say that anything was completely off and didn't resonate. They said, you know, it was pretty spot on, and like, they weren't raving that it was the best reading they'd ever had or anything like that, but just they got something out of the reading, and that means a lot to me. Like, I do think that you can get value out of getting a reading from another person, and sometimes, like, you absolutely can consult the tarot for yourself. I really do believe that, but in some states of mind that you get in, you just don't have that objectivity. You can't see the forest for the trees, you can't see the situation clearly, and so sometimes it is better to get a reading from somebody else. And so it really confuses me that Nomqua would say that nobody should ever get a tarot reading and that professional tarot readings shouldn't be a thing. And I don't know whether in her clinical practice she has seen problems arising from this in people's lives, but I mean, it's possible. I would like to hear her elaborate on it a little bit more, or do another blog post maybe following it up. So I might reach out to her about that and we'll see what happens. But yeah, so this is my local cemetery. There's a creek down there, and I'll sign this video off and I'll go across town to the other lawn cemetery and I'll start talking again. Okay, see you then. Hi again. So I'm across town now at the Port Curtis Garden Cemetery. It's really lovely here. It's quite a bit darker because it's quite late. It was quite a long walk and I'm a little bit puffed out, but I've been watching my last lot of footage and trying to think about what else I want to talk about. And so I'm not a professional tarot reader at this point in time. I would like to begin reading tarot professionally eventually, and I wouldn't necessarily want to make it a full-time business. It would more just be like a bit of a side hustle, a bit of a hobby business type of thing. And I'm not really sure how to go about it, whether I would open an Etsy page and do that whole Etsy thing. I don't really want to, because the Etsy markup is really ridiculous these days. Or, you know, I could start up my own website, which, you know, the hosting and all of the web design and all that could be expensive. So I don't know if I want to go that way. Or I could, you know, market on Instagram and Facebook and things like that, which I may have to pay to, you know, push my posts and sponsor my posts and things like that. So I'll see what happens. But I've got a Facebook page for By Featherbranch and Stone, which is pretty dead. It gets a few views still, but no engagement, and I don't really post on it anymore. I suppose I could maybe change the name to Pandora Le Cora, seeing as that's what I call myself on YouTube now. And I could, yeah, start posting my stuff on there again. But yeah, so hopefully that will happen eventually. Maybe not until I actually attain my Cert 4 in mental health peer work, because I do think that as a tarot reader you do need to have a skill set, and a lot of tarot readers are not necessarily professional psychologists or anything like that, but they do have, you know, human resource management degrees and you know, counselling qualifications in some cases, things like that. Or, you know, they've just got a broad life experience to draw upon, and they're just compassionate and caring and like helpful people. So I think that it is something that I could do eventually. It has to be at a time when I feel ready. And I myself have gotten a lot of value out of getting tarot readings over the years. I haven't talked about this on YouTube before, but I have purchased readings from Avalon Cameron, and I would highly recommend getting a reading from Avalon if it resonates with you. She is not a soft and fluffy and compassionate reader. She absolutely does not coddle people. She, in perfect love and perfect trust, tells it how it is, and just tells you everything that she sees in the cards and the way that she sees it in no uncertain terms. And I really love that about her readings. I went to get readings from her at a time when I was feeling quite stuck, and so, you know, I was honest with her about the mental health issues that I was having, and that I was also getting professional counselling. I wasn't just getting tarot readings instead of getting the help that I needed. I was kind of doing it as an adjunct to doing that whole thing. And so I was transparent and open and upfront with Avalon about that. And I found her readings really helpful. So, like, did she give me all of the answers? Did I go to her wanting all of the answers? No. Did she give me quite a lot of wisdom and something of value to assist me? Absolutely. And like, she's priced me out of readings a little bit now, which is not a bad thing. She absolutely is a fantastic reader and deserves to charge what she charges. But I absolutely just think that there is so much value in getting a reading. I've also gotten readings from my friend Tara from Lippy Witch, and I have purchased readings from Katey Flowers and Kellyanne Maddox a very long time ago. I got some readings from her which were absolutely lovely, and like, there's no harm done in getting a reading unless you get a really horrible, unethical reader. I don't really see how there is much of a chance for serious harm. And maybe if Namquai did a follow-up to this, she could explain that to me. But yeah, I just think that for the most part, it's fine to get a reading done, and you can have some really beautiful experiences getting a reading done and get a lot of insight into your issues, because as I said, sometimes when you're really in a situation that you can't see clearly and there's things that you can't consider from your point of view and you're very biased, then getting that objective outside viewpoint can really be of assistance. And I guess coming back to the whole issue of Namquai being a psychologist, I absolutely think that there is a time and a place to see a psychologist, obviously, and there is 100% a time and a place for getting that proper professional help that you need. And I wouldn't say that around that time when I was stuck and I was seeing psychologists, I was seeing counsellors and therapists and doctors, and also getting tarot readings from Avalon, that Avalon's tarot readings helped more. They helped more in a different way. Like, obviously doing that professional therapy and getting the help that I needed and getting those my therapy skills in place and having that professionally qualified person to talk to was really important. But my readings with Avalon were really good as well, and I do think that they helped me around that time. And as somebody with a mental health issue, and someone who is in charge of my own recovery, it is not for somebody else to say what did and didn't help me around that time. It is absolutely up to me to decide for myself what is right for me in my recovery and what helps me. And so it's not for somebody else to say. And I'm going to make a whole other video on mental health stigma. I've been talking about it for over a month now, or a couple of months, but I will get to it. But mental health professionals sometimes have internalized stigma. That is absolutely a thing, and they can stigmatize their clients. I'm just saying that that's absolutely a thing. I'm not saying that that's a thing for the person who wrote this blog post, but it could be. And I think that we need to be really careful of telling people with a mental health issue what's right for them in their recovery. So yes, I hope that you have enjoyed this view of this cemetery. It's really beautiful. At least I haven't covered up half of the footage. In my last video I had my hand over the camera so you couldn't see some of the footage. So I might take you back there, and if it's not too dark I might take a little bit more footage. Otherwise I'll absolutely do this another day. If you liked it, let me know. But I really love the feeling of this cemetery. This is the second time I've been here. And that other cemetery with the big old tombstones kind of has this really deep ancestral vibe to it, and that real wisdom and that real beautiful energy. Whereas this cemetery has more of that energy of connecting with departed loved ones. So obviously there's a difference between the energy of connecting with ancestors who perhaps you've never met, and connecting with departed loved ones who you knew and loved and had a relationship with in the physical before they passed. So yeah, I might sign back on, but let me know what you think of what I've had to say in this video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks guys, bye. Hi again loves. So it is quite dark over at this cemetery on my way back home again, and I know you probably can't see me very well, but I thought that I would just take more footage anyway because I wanted to clarify on some more things. And I do just really want to emphasize that I don't come to cemeteries and come for walks just to be kooky and witchy and stereotypically witchy and that sort of thing and to be cool. I come here with a really strong sense of respect. It is a place of rest and I do absolutely respect that. And there's a very good chance that I have blood relatives buried in this cemetery because my grandmother's always talking to me about how her family and her ancestors originally came from the central part of Queensland and southeast Queensland before her and my grandfather moved up north where my dad and his siblings were born and grew up and where my grandparents now live. And so I also have some old customers that I used to serve when I worked in a small business here in town at that other lawn cemetery, and so I go there for a reason as well, not just to be spooky and cool, although you have to admit it is very beautiful. What witch doesn't love a cemetery at night? None. And there's bats flying around and it's just so exciting. It's like, it's nearly Samhain because it's nearly Aussie Samhain here. Not really, like first we've got Lammas and then the autumn equinox and then it's Samhain, but it's a little bit exciting. But I wanted to talk to you more about Avalon's readings. So I mentioned that Avalon has raised her prices, and that's true, but she does have sales on her store from time to time, and she will also do a discount code for her Patreon followers, so that's good, and it's good to jump on when that happens. But I didn't talk enough about her reading style. I really wanted to talk about how great her reading style is. There's nobody else that I've found that reads quite like her, and I know that people have tried to emulate her. I'll just come back here because you can actually see my face a little bit. She's had people purchase readings from her for the purpose of trying to emulate her reading style and rip off her personal style. Avalon has come up with her style of ritual tarot organically. It's come about because that's what she does. She sets up sacred space and holds sacred space for every reading that she does, and she absolutely holds space for you in that sacred space. And even through just getting a video reading, you can absolutely feel that sacred space and you feel really held, and you feel that she is giving that care and attention to your query or concern 100%. And so she's a really fantastic reader. I can't recommend her highly enough. I do think that she helped me. And so obviously I know that there are some potential problems with people with a mental illness working as professional tarot readers and giving professional tarot readers to people in the community. But I think those potential problems come down to things like, how are you managing your self-care? What self-care strategies are you using? Are you making sure that you don't get burned out? Are you looking after yourself while you're doing this for other people and making sure that you're not getting burned out and stressing yourself out with the situation and things like that, more so than this whole thing of, you know, this stigmatized idea that people with mental illnesses shouldn't be, oh gosh, just checking that this is still recording. Yeah, it is, sorry. That people with a mental illness shouldn't be giving tarot readings, and that's just like, because no. Like, you can absolutely still be a good tarot reader if you have a lived experience of mental illness. You have so much life experience to draw on to help people. And when it comes to professionals, there's a time and a place for them. I'm absolutely not anti-intellectual or anti-academic or anything like that, and I never ever will be. I absolutely think that those things are valid and that they have their place and they are really important and that we need them. However, people have been getting tarot readings. I was going to say since the dawn of time, but certainly people have been consulting divinatory oracles since the dawn of time, and it's just something that people are going to continue to do. It's something that they feel helps them. It's something that resonates for them on soul level, having somebody else help them with their spiritual concerns. And so I think that I've covered everything now. I hope that you've enjoyed my rambling and my cemetery walk, and let me know what you think of what I've said in this video. Let me know what you think about this issue, and I will see you next time.